All right, guys, in today's video, I'm going to show you how to make waterers and feeders, homemade, do it yourself, for a large flock of chickens. Us personally, we have 30 Cornish cross meat birds, and that's why we're making a whole bunch of these. And it's a lot more simple than you think, so I'm going to show you guys how to do it. All right, so what you're going to need is very simple. Some Sharpie or marking device, a tape measure, some waterers, at least 9 for 1 bucket, and some feeders, at least 6 for 1 bucket, and then of course 2 buckets with lids. Don't forget the lids. They cost extra. So the buckets are about $8 for 2 buckets, and then $2 per lid. So it's roughly 10 to 12 bucks for 2 buckets with lids. So however many of those you need, just calculate that and just multiply it by 2, 3, whatever. For the feeders and the waterers, I got 32 waterers, which is plenty, for about 16 bucks roughly. And for the feeders, I got, I believe it was 18 of them for around $20. Now that's pretty dang cheap. It's about 40 bucks, and you can do, I'd say, like 4 buckets with that, depending. About 3 buckets for the feeders and 4 for the waterers. I just so happen to have some more feeders lying around, so I'm doing 4 total. That's all you need. Very simple. So the benefits of doing it this way, and really usually when you do it yourself anything, is that it is a lot cheaper and it's very easy. This is super, super easy and super fast to do. It doesn't take a lot of time. It looks really cool. So you think, oh man, this might be really hard or take a while. This takes, I'd say, less than 10 minutes to do 1 bucket each. It's going to take me maybe a little longer just because I'm recording, but for you guys, it'll be very quick. All right, let's jump into it. So the feeder first. What I'm going to do is I'm going to start just marking right about here in the middle of where the handle is down there. And then this little flexible weed whacker wire in my case, I'm going to measure roughly 5 5/8 inches and mark it. Now I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to place it on here. If you're a righty, you're going the other way. So I'm going to take that and I'm going to mark it. And just keep sliding down and marking it over and over again. I'm telling you, this will save such a headache than trying to do it with a tape measure, because it'll just keep creasing and folding over, and you're going to get more squares in than marks. There you go. And now we're going to measure from the bottom up 3 inches. And mark our cross hatching. 3 inches, and I'm just going to fill in the blank there.
It turned out really nice.
Yeah. Now you take this, set on the ground in between your feet, that way you can hold it steady. And what I do is I line up the drill bit on the cross hatch, just like that. You have to angle it to see, and then I lift up like this. Now I know it's centered. Just like that. All right, now that that is all cleaned out, what we're going to do is we're going to take the feeder here, and they're going to come probably pre-threaded like this. We're just going to open it up, and we're going to take it and put it in this way with the feeder hole right here down, just like that. And the little gasket, the rubber thing that they got on the O-ring on the outside, is going to be out here. It's not going to be on the inside. And then taking this flat edge back, we're going to slap it in like this. Tighten it way up. Cool. And then I just kind of make sure it's a little level, not really important. So before we get to that, if you're using anything other than a bucket, and if you're using any number other than 6 feeders for that bucket, you're going to have a different measurement than the 5 inches and 5/8 that I gave you. So to get that, What you do is, first of all, you want it to be roughly 3 inches on center up from the bottom. That's just what they recommend. I did about 2 on one of my other ones and it seemed a little shallow, so 3 inches is a good place to keep it at. 3 inches up. But as for how far spread out they are, what I did was I sat this down and I held some feeders in my hand and I just went like this and I aimed it around and saw how many feeders I wanted right off the jump. Once I decided on a number, what I did was I took a rope and I went around 3 inches, I marked it, and I went around the whole thing and I got the circumference of how long that is. Then I took that measurement, let's say 35, and I want 6 feeders on there. I would take 35 divided by 6, and then I have 5 inches apart. So then on 3 inches on center vertically, we're gonna mark 5 inches on something like this. And then we're gonna take that 5 inches, and we're gonna mark, and boom, you have all of them evenly spread out across the whole thing. It'll look great. It'll be evenly spread out. You won't have a little gap here and a huge gap over there, and they'll all be on the same height. It'll be perfect. But anyways, boom. Now we're gonna rinse and repeat 5 more times. Now, while you're tightening these on, you want to make sure that that little O-ring that's on there doesn't slip and go in to the hole that you've drilled. If it slips out like this, it's fine, it's whatever. I mean, you can like shove it back in there with your fingers if you want, but you just want to make sure that it doesn't slip through the actual crack itself, because then you're not getting the seal that you want. So there you go. They're all in. And now, you're taking these little things, and you just boop, stuff them in there. All right, so now moving on to our waterers, and it's going to be a very, very similar process. Instead of a hole saw, we're going to be using just this drill bit that I came with, and we are going to use just this twine. I mean, there's no difference really, but the measurement that I'm using is 3 7/8. That is for 9 waterers on a bucket. I think it looks a little silly if you had any more than this. I think that's kind of the maximum right there. Then at that point, really, chickens can't even get in there and get their water. So 9 seems like the max. I'm going to do the same thing, starting off in the middle where the handle goes down. I use that little triangle up there as a reference. Helps me out. Now I'm just going to do the exact same thing. Perfect. And now, measuring from the bottom, we are going to measure 2 inches. If you feel like these cups are too low, this is what 2 inches from the bottom looks like. You can always put the bucket on some bricks or something, plywood, pieces of 2x4s, whatever. You can hang it. You can do anything to just get it up off the ground. I am going to be hanging it. But yeah, you just want the cups to be as low as possible without it hitting the ground. Regardless, 2 inches from the bottom. Just like that. And then we're doing the exact same thing. And it's a little easier because it's just the bit. And what's cool is it has this little point on the end of this bit. You want to put that little point on the end of the drill bit right in the center of the cross. That's going to be the center of the drill bit. That's where you want to put right here. Now, when I get through like that, what I'm going to do is I'm just going to bring my drill in circular motions like this as I'm drilling, and that's just going to help me deburr quite a bit, so I won't have to use sandpaper. Just like that. And now that this is clean, we're going to start throwing the waterers through. So if you look on the waterer here, there's a little gasket right there, or an O-ring, or whatever you want to call it. And that is going to be on the outside of the bucket. And then using this wing nut, we're going to tighten on the waterer. Oops. We're going to tighten on the waterer. And you want the wings facing on the inside of the bucket. And you don't want to over tighten this like crazy. See how that got pretty flat, but it's not paper thin? That's what you want. Enough for it to seal off, and that's it. Because if you over tighten it, you'll start stripping the threads and it'll end up leaking. So that's not good. All right, now it's time to fill up these feeders. 2 of these will take one 50-pound bag roughly. And I got my feed right here. If you guys are curious, I buy from Pine Creek in Lyons, New York. They are incredible. Incredible service, incredible feed. I support them. All right. So if you guys found this video helpful, informative, or gave you just that little boost of confidence that you needed to take on this little do-it-yourself project, feel free to throw us a like and a subscribe, and check out our channel for more videos. We post all the time. And I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.